It's 5 o'clock, and this regular meeting of the Carefree Town Council will come to order. Thank you all for coming out today. Please take a roll call. We have one councilman who's absent. That's Councilman Mike Johnson. He's in Hawaii on his 25th wedding anniversary. So we'll give him a pass. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. George Nelson, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So for the council and anyone who comes up to speak, please speak directly into the microphone so the folks at home can hear you. Yeah, speak loud and clear. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed hereunder are considered to be routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be discussed separately. Item number 1, approval of the June 6, 2023 Town Council meeting minutes. Item number 2, acceptance into the public record of the June 2023 paid bills. Item number 3, acceptance of the cash receipts and disbursements report for May 2023. Any comments from the council? Okay, hearing one, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 1 through 3.
I move that we accept the consent agenda, items 1 through 3.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 4, call to the public. The public may address the council on matters not on the agenda. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of the public body, the town council, may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the town council and may ask staff to review a matter, direct staff to study the matter, reschedule the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, the council may not discuss or take legal action at this time. Please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. So I would ask that when your time comes, you come up to the microphone and you speak into the microphone, you state your name and your address. So we have a number of slips. And what I would suggest, if you wish to speak to something on the agenda, that you speak during that agenda time. You can speak now if you want, but so if you wish to speak about item number 6, having to do with the appointment of a candidate, we're going to allow time for that before the council votes. So, Mr. John Trainer. Oh, okay.
John Trainer, 23-year Carefree resident. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Crane, members of the remaining council. It's good to see you this evening. Back in December, this council made a grave, serious mistake, overestimation of the sentiment in Carefree. The message that was delivered following the election in May was not simply about property tax. It goes much deeper than that. The miscalculation in May woke people up. People are awake, they're watching. We're all watching. Representation on this council would be best served if this council would genuinely and seriously consider picking a representative of that 80% of the voters that cast ballots in that election. This is, from my point of view, a positive statement. I think I've expressed that previously. I'd rather be up here supporting decisions. I'd rather be up here supporting dialogue and debate rather than complaining. I'm good at complaining, as you know, but I'd rather be up here supporting. So I'm asking you tonight to seriously deliberate about a candidate that you would select to replace Tony Geiger. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. George Nelson.
Thank you for giving me the privilege to lead this organization in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I come from a military family, a lot of deaths. The one thing that's most important to us is equal representation. And following what John said, the thing that's very disturbing here is you're leading us, and it was a one-sided affair. It was not equal representation. We all make mistakes. Certainly, I've made plenty of them. But if we don't learn from that mistake, that message isn't loud and clear. And my concern is either because you're sitting on an elevated platform, the 80% of us were either too stupid to understand the message that you were delivering, or maybe we couldn't afford the tax. But I can tell you, in my time here, most of the people here are particularly bright, particularly productive, and are a fantastic group. So when 80%, I've never seen a group like this. I've never been in a room where I was overwhelmed with the talent and ability of so many people. And when 80% say that, that's the effect I have on people.
Hey, you put her to sleep, George, come on.
My,
Go ahead, George.
my concern as an American, that would be all of your concern, is you represent us for whatever reason. I'll leave that to another issue. You miss 80 to represent 80% of us, and it wasn't an equal representation. Yet this group is in charge of nominating the new replacement from the board that rejected 80% of the people you represent. Now, I'll get off that, moving forward to be positive. First of all, for some of the people that I work with, I want to make it clear, as far as I understand, the town administrator works for you, the mayor and the board,
30 seconds.
okay? So the liability is on the board and the mayor. There's 3 big pieces of property here. It's time for Carefree to wake up, be progressive, rather than everyone else deciding what to do with those pieces of property. Let's put a committee together. There's something that's a little out of the line for you to think about, but pickleball is taking over this entire country. Pickleball, like tennis used to stamp the integrity and the demographic of the community back in the day, that's what's happening with pickleball. And we can certainly make Carefree really put it on the map and start to upgrade it and make it a modern city that people really want to come to for more reasons than just to grow white hair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Miss Diane Thompson?
Okay, I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm at 8502 East Cave Creek Road, and I'm here really for a lot of the same reason that a lot of other people are here. But I'm here specifically to support Colleen Rose Skirty to be appointed to the current position of the council. I think that Colleen would do a fabulous job representing all of the issues that are really important to all of us. I know that I'm one of many Carefree residents that are in favor of her being appointed to this position. And I know Colleen, with her fabulous qualities of critical thinking skills and communication skills, she would really be a net addition, a great valuable addition to the council and to the future of Carefree. So I hope that you will appoint her. And with that, I give my time back. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Mr. John Mattis.
Transparency and truth, we've heard it a few times. On May 13th of this year, I submitted a public records request for personnel policies and procedures and a personnel rating form through the custodian of records. After 2 weeks, I received a blank personnel review sheet. I emailed back, said I was asking for personnel policies and procedures also. I was told I was being redundant. A few days after receiving the last email, custodian of records, I had a meeting with Mayor Crane. Before we started the meeting, I asked him if there were policies and procedures. He said no, there weren't. Mayor Crane, thank you for your transparency. On Saturday, after the mayor told me that they didn't have policies and procedures, I received a letter from the town attorney. Town attorney said that my request for documents for May 13th were satisfied. I emailed him back saying, no. I was found out that you don't have records for policies and procedures, and that you might want to inform the town administration what their liability is. Every municipality except the town of Carefree has policies and procedures. Every one. I've checked. The town administrator has been here for 20 years, we've been told. Yet it apparently has never suggested to the council or mayor that policies and procedures are needed for employees. One other question, why wasn't the mayor or someone else on the council copied on the town attorney's email? Who suggested he write me an email? I would assume that would come from the council, it would come from the mayor, directed to the town administrator, who would direct the town attorney. That apparently didn't happen. The town and administration and council has forgotten the way the town was created. I think we just heard that once. A strong council, CEO, and mayor that directs the town administrator as to what the administrator is to do. It seems the reverse is in order. Transparency is very lacking, in my opinion, in Carefree. I do want to end on a positive note, believe it or not, as someone else said. Thank you. People who get their water bills are finally seeing an insert that's giving them more information. If they don't go to your website, they aren't in the email chain, they are now getting some information, and I thank whoever is responsible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stuart Skirty.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Thank you for having us. I'm Stuart Skirty, resident of Carefree, residing on Paint Pony Drive. I'm the proud husband of Town Council candidate Colleen Rose Skirty. It's been my honor to sit with Colleen at the post office and visit citizens around town over the past few weeks, watching her interact with hundreds of Carefree citizens, business owners, and property owners. Colleen has been out there discussing her opinions, policies, concerns, potential solutions, giving a very wide and diverse segment of our community the opportunity to question her in depth on dozens of topics and challenges facing Carefree. Some residents coming back 3 or 4 more times asking for additional questions and looking for more detail. This, my fellow Carefree citizens, is transparent community engagement at its finest. Who among the other 9 candidates vying for this open seat can say anything close to the same? Not to disparage them. During this time, Colleen collected well over 150 signed endorsement cards. We even got a few more tonight. And learned that dozens of other Carefree citizens also took time out of their day to email the mayor and the council members with their endorsements for Colleen. Given a few more weeks, this type of engagement, Colleen would have easily doubled her endorsements. This is an important window of an opportunity for the Carefree mayor and the town council to recognize and acknowledge the well thought out opinion of the residents of Carefree. Tonight, all of you have a choice to make. I ask that you choose wisely and carefully when deciding. And in case I didn't mention it and you didn't already notice, I too proudly endorse Colleen for town council. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walt Brubaker.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'm Walt Brubaker. I live at 8236 East Carefree Drive, west of Pima. I have no complaints at all. I'm a lousy citizen. I never showed up at one of these meetings, ever. I never did anything for my community except take all my relatives through the cactus gardens and have them ooh and ah. But I had something I read on the news happen in Scottsdale 2 weeks ago, scared the hell out of me, and I just want to know what's going on in my community. I'm such an idiot, I don't know and I don't follow, so I'd be grateful if everybody would give me their take, and maybe the candidates, this would be illuminative if they'd give their take as well. Scottsdale recently accepted $1 million roughly from the state of Arizona, and they used it to put homeless people, many of them border crossers, into motels in Scottsdale. That happened on the 28th. They didn't ask the community, they just did it. They took the money from the state and did it. And as I drive up Cave Creek, my fun little town over here, they've got tattoo parlors, cannabis dispensaries, check cashers, and bail bondsmen. So I'd like to ask everybody, and I don't rate, I don't rank. You can all tell me to take a hike, you're not answering, it's okay. But for the people on the board and for the people who are applying, I'd like to know the following. Would you allow in Carefree homeless people in our shiny new motel, bail bondsmen, tattoo parlors, pot dispensaries? Would you allow that to be in Carefree? And if anybody will grace me with an answer, or everybody one at a time, I'd be most grateful, and I'll sit down and be quiet. I'm just trying to illuminate what's going on with my town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak a call to the public? So that will close call to the public. Unfortunately, we cannot, Mr. Brubaker, we cannot talk to items that are not on the agenda, but I'd be glad to speak with you afterwards. Current events. So I have one current event that's pretty exciting news. So Carefree has a new communications manager, and that's Brianna Kahn. She's with us tonight. She's in the back of the room. So Brianna is an experienced communication and marketing professional. She brings just a great wealth of experience and expertise in marketing, in creating content and managing social media. She's a great asset. And most notably, you might remember in 2018 there was a huge fire in Paradise, California, horrible fire. Bree was the public information officer for the town of Paradise when that happened. So she's great in managing stressful situations and disasters. Not that I'm asking you to challenge her, but she brings a great skill set to us. So anyway, a big warm welcome to Bree, and thank you for joining us. Any other events for council to announce? Okay, so hearing none, we'll move on to item number 6. Review, discussion, and possible action to appoint an applicant to the vacant town council seat pursuant to Carefree Town Code Section 211 to serve through December 2026. And we have 10 candidates who have stepped forward to do so. And thank you to all of you. It was quite an undertaking to put yourself out there. So we had a strong response, and I've had the privilege of sitting down and speaking with every one of them. And my takeaway is there's a wealth of experience, know-how, knowledge. We have a very strong community, and it's just fantastic. So I want to give you also an idea of how this process will go. So each applicant will have 2 minutes to come before the council and introduce themselves. And then after that, we will open up the public comments, so maybe others might wish to speak to this agenda item. Then we'll close the public comment. Then the town council will discuss what they're thinking, maybe who they're thinking about voting for, because they'll have a chance to vote. And then we will call a vote, and then the town clerk will ask each of us to vote. Per the town code, the council, including the mayor, by can make an appointment based on a majority. So here tonight, there's 5 of us. That means the candidate who is chosen will have 3 votes. If in the course of this process, we don't have 3 votes, right? For example, we have 2, 2, and 1, then we will have to vote again. And when we vote again, the 2 candidates who had 2 votes will be the 2 candidates to be considered. If we have 2, 1, 1, 1, or 5 1s, anyone who got, in those scenarios, anyone who got a vote will be considered again. So it could take a few iterations, but that's how it works, and we'll just wade through it. After we pick a candidate, that candidate will be sworn in, so the town clerk will swear that person in, and then that person will take a seat up here and then act upon the remaining agenda items. So having said that, I will open it up to the council for any comments.
Yeah, without, or at the risk of saying the same thing that you did, I just want to say that I met with all 10 of the people who were interested in joining our council. I was really impressed by all of them. I think any one of them can do a great job. I hope whoever doesn't get selected will stay involved and find a way to work for our town. And so I just want to say that you're all great. Thank you for being willing to step forward. It's a thankless job, but we love it, and we get paid a lot for it. Huge. So, so thank you to all of you for your interest, and may the best person win.
I also wanted to comment on that. A few years ago, I sat in a situation very similar to this. We had lost a council member, and this process had begun, and the existing council members, including the mayor, a majority of which had outreached to me, I had a chance to sit with each, and there were 2 questions that were posed to me pretty much by each of those council members, including the mayor. Number 1, why do you want to do this? And caught me off guard, because there's always a canned boilerplate response. I want to serve my community. I want to help out, get involved, do this, do that. And the second question was, if you don't get selected, will you still be willing to help out? And that's obviously, there aren't 10 vacancies, there's 1. And so 9 of you will have an opportunity to still be engaged and still help out. And if that opportunity comes, will you? And that's what a community is. All the people up here, down there, we're all residents, and we, many times at different events, you'll see us doing things, working concession tables, pushing brooms, cleaning up. And it's not as glorified a position as it may seem on the surface. There's a lot of elbow grease involved, and we are a town of talented individuals and residents, and anybody that can come forward and help, we would be welcome of that. So, thank you.
Any other comments?
No, just overall to thank all those who put their hat in the ring for this position. That's all. Thank you.
All right. So now we'll begin the opportunity for those who are candidates to come up and speak for 2 minutes. And the way we'll do it is we have slips of paper with their name in there. And so we will randomly pick the names out and call you up. And by the way, we have 2 of the candidates who are joining us by phone. They're not here this evening. And the first one is Ron Thackeray.
Mr. Thackeray, did you hear the mayor?
I did, thank you.
All right, Mr.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. I'd like to thank the members of the town council for considering my application for this position. My name is Ron Thackeray. I reside at 8116 East Serene and have been a full-time resident of Carefree for 3.5 years. I regret that I'm not there in person, but our vacation was planned last summer. My desires for the town include remaining fiscally sound, building strategies for business growth and community engagement. As an entity primarily reliant on revenues from sales tax, I'll work to advance those opportunities, as well as the completion of the process for the adoption of the revised general plan. My knowledge and skills that may benefit the community include my career as an attorney, including many years in risk management and managing thousands of legal disputes. While it's challenging, I aim to work towards consensus and resolving issues. The majority of my career was as an executive with AMR, which is the parent company of our service provider, Rural Metro. While I'm not a clinician or a firefighter, I have extensive knowledge of emergency services and system designs. As we continue to address those needs in Carefree, I'll be of assistance. I followed the recent ballot initiative regarding a property tax closely and engaged with representatives from both sides. I fully appreciate the roles and responsibilities of fiduciaries and the actions they take. I attended the town hall meeting at the consignment store across from the post office and recently spoke with members opposing the property tax at a neighbor's birthday party. Once again, I thank you for your consideration and offer to help wherever I'm needed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thackeray. Next up, Lou Levinson.
Lou Levinson, 9222 East Stagecoach Pass. I'd like to thank the town council for the opportunity to meet you and introduce myself. Mayor Crane, Sheila, Cheryl, Steve, Vince. Hopefully I was able to provide a little in-depth understanding of the skill sets I've developed over a 40-plus year working career with two very fine companies, Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance and the Eastman Kodak Company, where I successfully honed my ability to work with very diversified groups in a synergetic manner so we could achieve our goals. These skill sets I have replicated many times with success. I've utilized them again after I retired, volunteering with the YMCA and with Puppy Love Animal Rescue. And they will allow me to work successfully with the residents of Carefree, our older population, the snowbirds, and a new dynamic in Carefree, younger families with children, the businesses, town council, and to achieve our goals, I will do it with passion and diversity. I will get the job done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up, Mr. Lon Johnson.
Good evening. My name is Lon Johnson. I've spent the past 42 years in the private business sector. I'm currently Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Colbert Packaging. I also serve on Colbert's Board of Directors. Along with my responsibilities at Colbert, I've served as President of the Institute of Packaging Professionals for 6 years, and I served 4 years on the Executive Board of Directors for the Drug, Chemical, and Associated Trades Organization. I offer to the Council a strong business background with experience in both sales and operations. To be an effective salesperson, you need to be that conduit between company and customer that you represent. Serving on the Council is similar. You need to have that same relationship between the Council and the citizens of Carefree. In March, I joined the Desert Foothills Leadership Academy. This year-long program provides great insight into the state and local government. It also lays a solid foundation for future leadership endeavors. Through the program, I met leaders within our community, including Mayor Crane, Mayor Morris. We've toured the Scottsdale Water Reclamation Plant, met with police and fire officials, and we're currently working on a program to honor the teachers of Shadow Mountain High School. The valuable experiences of this Leadership Academy are assets I will bring to the Council. During this process, I've had the opportunity to meet the mayor and the council members. Through those conversations, I've been transparent and shared my opinions about many topics, including the reason I voted no concerning the recent property tax proposal. This is a unique opportunity for the council to appoint a new member. It's not an election where garnering a consensus by vote is a path to this position. Instead, this appointment requires your careful review for the candidate that provides value and purpose to the sitting council. I wouldn't be up here if I didn't think I offered both. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Ms. Sharon Smith.
Thank you. Mayor Crane, Vice Mayor Croyer, council members, Carefree staff, and fellow citizens. thank you for this opportunity to address the council. I fell in love with this town nearly a decade ago during a visit with family in the area. I bought a condominium here in 2015 and moved in late 2019 following my retirement from the presidency of the University of Pittsburgh at Greensburg. I am an economist by training and have spent my career in a variety of leadership positions in business, government, and academia. During that time, I also served on many boards, both public and private, as a member and/or chair. I understand the commitment in time and effort that service on boards and in government entails, and recognize the vital role this service plays in communicating with constituencies and in assuring effective functioning of the organizations. I appreciate the role that volunteer service plays, and I have always devoted the same level of effort and commitment to both volunteer and paid positions. I am eager to serve this community, to listen to the concerns of its residents, to weigh the costs and the benefits of any action in order to help Carefree to embrace opportunities while keeping faith with its unique history and distinctive character. I was honored to be selected to join the Carefree Planning and Zoning Commission. To further my understanding of the town and its issues, I have been a regular attendee at town council meetings and the workshops on the new general plan. I am eager to join the town council and will, if chosen, of course, resign from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Michael Craig.
Dr. Craig?
I'm here. Good evening. Candace, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. My thanks to council for considering my application for the vacant seat. I'm Dr. Michael Cray. I reside at 37212 North Frankville Trail. I've been a resident of Carefree for nearly 14 years. I've been on the Planning and Zoning Committee and Town Council in the recent past. I believe that council members know me and know what I stand for as a public servant of our Carefree. I represent 100% of all Carefree. I was the founding architect of the Desert Foothills Leadership Academy. I represent and will represent and have represented 100% of Carefree's interests, not just 80%. I want to thank you for your consideration. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cray. Next up, Ms. Colleen Rose Scruti. Scruti, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's a skirt tee.
Yes. Sorry.
I know. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Crane and Town Council members for the opportunity to speak here this evening. Thank you also for reaching out and having conversations with me where I could let you know my thoughts and you could let me know your thoughts about how the Town Council is working, and I appreciate that opportunity very much. I think we're fortunate that we have several qualified candidates for this vacant Town Council seat. I would like to offer you the reasons that I feel that I am currently the best candidate for this seat. Over the last several months, we have seen the relationship between the Town Council and the residents deteriorate. We now have 80% of the residents feeling that they're not being heard or included in decisions impacting the town. There's a lack of trust. I'm sure that you, the Town Council, would like a more harmonious relationship with the residents. First and foremost, we are all residents of Carefree. We all care about the town. I feel that I can bring the two together. I've been engaging with the residents and business owners over the last several months at the post office. It's been a very positive experience for both me and the residents. The residents have been able to let me know what they think is working well and what is not. I would like to be able to engage with the residents as a council member and work with them to find positive solutions for keeping Carefree the small, unique, and rural town that it is, and find ways to enhance the Sundial area while also growing the businesses in town. With this engagement, I would be able to improve the relationship with the residents and the town council, which would benefit everyone. If you choose a candidate that is qualified, but does not have the engagement aspect with the residents, or represents the thoughts of the 20%, then I feel the disconnect and lack of trust with the residents will continue, and it will be difficult for the town council moving forward to achieve their goals, which would be unfortunate. I think that what Carefree needs now is a council member that is currently connected to the residents and can promote a good working relationship between the two. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Clint Miller.
Mayor, members of council, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Clint Miller, a local architect. I've been living on Carefree Drive for the last 11 years. My wife and I are thrilled that we live in Carefree. I have respect for your hard work, your enthusiasm. I love the history. K.T. Palmer, Tom Darlington, Gary Jones, Benny Gonzalez. I hope to add to their effort. My past HOA work is relevant to the position. Working with design submittals, I've been able to communicate desert culture, and I've been able to settle those homes into the desert comfortably. Working with DC Ranch, the Silverleaf project, our task was to integrate large, broad-shouldered Mediterranean design homes into the McDowell Mountains. The lead architect coined the phrase, Palm Beach meets the desert. We use methods to visually reduce the mass of buildings, soften the impact of size. We used a native palette of trees and plants as the unifying fabric. Scale and detail need to be based on an historical past. Carefree, in my eyes, has far more cachet than DC Ranch. Our distinct difference is that we have diversity of architecture, history, and mid-century designs that are authentic. I see my contribution as adding beauty, whether to repurpose or for new buildings. I will help find the union that makes Carefree unique. Carefree offers so much. I'd like to be a part of this community. It deserves sensitive and leading architecture. This position, if chosen, will challenge me. I'm honored that I'm considered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gina Rico.
Gina Rico, 9002 East Cave Creek Road in Carefree. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My past accomplishments, I have a master's degree from DePaul University. I had 3 insurance agencies as an insurance broker with 26 employees. I had a real estate broker's license. I also had a Security 7 license to sell insurance and mutual funds. I am at present the treasurer of the Carefree Shadows HOA. I am past president of the Kiwanis Club of Carefree. I sit on the boards of the Kiwanis Club of Carefree and also the Kiwanis Benefit Foundation. I also am chairperson for the Kiwanis building, and I negotiate to buy and sell properties, and also had sat on the council where you folks are sitting right now. My belief is that, which I always stated, that we need eclectic businesses in Carefree, mom and pop businesses. We need a variety of restaurants, which we are getting. We do need a Mexican restaurant and an Asian restaurant. And we have to have a reason why people that come to Carefree, why do they come? They have different businesses to go to. And this is so critically important, you know. And also, too, we just brought the corporate offices of Kiwanis right into Carefree across from Town Hall. And also what K.T. Palmer and Tom Darlington, who were Kiwanians, stated, that let's keep Carefree carefree, and that is one of the reasons why I also voted for no property tax, since we have the Hampton, which provides bed tax, plus ancillary businesses like the venues, Athens on Easy Street, Keelers, they all making money from that. Okay, we also rezoned the
Time's
corner.
up, Mr. Rico.
Pardon?
Time's up.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You have another sentence or two. Go. Hey, Gene. Hey, Gene. Did you have anything else significant to say? Okay. I mean, I don't want to just cut you off cold.
We did rezone the corner of northeast Cave Creek Road and Carefree Highway for a shopping center, which once again proves that if we can get that done, there should be no reason to ever have a property tax in Carefree.
Okay,
Thank you.
Gene. Next up, Mr. Ted Taylor.
Hi, my name is Ted Taylor. If selected, I would work to meet and exceed the expectations of the council and the residents of Carefree, like myself at 7321 Long Rifle, K.T. Palmer's first house in Carefree. I want to thank you for having the opportunity to do this. And if selected, like I said, I would gladly serve and do what I need to do to meet the requirements of the residents and the town council itself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Miss Diane Roth.
First, I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for all the time they took interviewing all of us. And it's an honor to be doing this. My name's Diane Roth, 1004 North Boulder Drive. I applied for the position because of my retail background. 45 years in retailing, 35 years of owning my own business. And during that time, I helped revitalize a downtown area. We worked with the chamber, which I served on. I formed the New Canaan Merchants Association, and we worked on bringing people and new businesses into the town and going from having 11 liquor stores and 14 antique stores to a much more varied part. And as it got healthier, we didn't need to drink as much. As we all know, the downtown area is the heart of town, and where the fiscal health starts, it's in our downtown. So I'd like to work to make our downtown more vital and help it become a true destination for both residents and visitors, because you do need both, which most people forget. I moved here 2 years ago, but my sister moved to Cave Creek in 2000. Starting in 2002, I'd come once a year to see her. She picked me up at the airport and said, "Oh, there's a tea room, we have to go." So every year she'd pick me up at the airport, we'd get to the tea room, we'd have tea, and I'd walk around town and talk to the merchants, because everyone in retailing knows you're never on vacation. Whenever you're somewhere, you go into town and you say, "Oh, you know, how's business? What are you doing? What do you like?" So I got to know Carefree over those 22 years, and to see how the town moved, what its potential was, what was happening, and how it changed, sometimes not for the best. So I bring retailing, which I don't believe anyone else does, and I would be happy to work with everybody. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so there should be no more candidates. So now we'll open it up to public comments. I have one slip, and so in this, the subject is to speak to this agenda item, so Mr. John Mattis.
Interesting, I was gonna throw my endorsement to Colleen Rose Skirty earlier, but decided I think it made more sense to listen to everybody first and then make a endorsement, if you will, for Colleen. Thank you. The reason why from what I understand, there are 4 people that did not vote for the property tax. Yes, I know 80% is not 100% of the population and the residents and the electorate. Although 80% is a majority. Those people, I feel, have the pulse of the community, but Colleen really has the pulse of the community. She was the only person of the 10 that I saw, seeing I go to the post office almost every day to get my mail, do the little walk up there like everyone else, or 80% of the population does. She was out there answering questions. Stewart was out there answering questions, and they were getting information for what do residents have that they are concerned about. The only other person that sits out there, I have to give you kudos, Councilperson Omaroso, is you sit out there and take the good and the bad. How are you going to represent people if you don't know what they want? We know they don't want a property tax, and I think Colleen knows exactly what the rest of the people want. She's heard it. 150 cards plus more tonight. The only other thing I have to say is I understand that Trader Joe's is going in to the old CVS. That should, at least they're interested. I don't know if it's going in, but it's interested. So that'll be a boost, and I think they'll probably get more tax revenue from Trader Joe's than you would from CVS. Plus the Hampton Inn and Suite, I'd love to know what you're seeing in revenue from there. I never hear it, although we see it, but I never hear what revenue from room tax are we seeing. Getting back to the main point, Colleen, I think, is the best candidate for this council position. Thank you.
Ms. Jan Neal.
Hello, I'm Jan Neal. I'm at 1820 Eagle Claw in Carefree. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but I felt compelled to come up here. I think all the candidates, there's a lot of wealth of experience. I think there are a lot of people that are willing to successfully perform the responsibilities. Very impressive resumes. But the reason I'm up here is because one candidate to me stands out because of the contribution specifically that they can make to the town council and the town of Carefree and our merchants, and that's Diane Roth. Diane, as she said, has a wealth of experience. She's met the merchants. She's also spoken very exhaustively to residents as well over the past several months. But again, what stands out to me with Diane is she can fill that seat and she can contribute from day one with all of her great ideas. And I've heard a lot of those ideas myself. And I think a lot of you have heard as well. So I would ask that you give that strong consideration, because again, there's probably half of us could successfully perform the responsibilities, But again, the unique contribution that Ms. Roth can make is she can hit the ground running, she can help revitalize this town, get activities going, and I know she's spoken to several of you about those things that she can do. She has unexhaustive enthusiasm and drive. She's tireless, works tirelessly with what she does and commits to. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ariane Busser.
Hello, my name is Ariane Buser, and I'm a resident of Carefree. I too am in here to support someone from the 80%. I think we need someone who represents the residents' values, and I think we've gone on too long without having our voices heard. And the survey that has been going around about the general plan and what the future of Carefree, I think we really need to have someone who focuses those ideas and understands what is at risk if we do not let Carefree develop into what it really needs to be. And in my opinion, that would be Colleen. I have had the opportunity of working with her very closely throughout the property tax initiative, and I think that her wealth of ideas and creative ideas in terms of how to keep Carefree rural and special, but also bring in maybe some new businesses to town would be really wonderful. But this town, we have a lot of really big decisions coming our way, especially with the general plan that's coming up. We have a lot of things that need to be discussed and determined for the future of this town, and we need to have someone that represents the true ideas of the residents of Carefree, not some lofty goals of someone who wants to come in, overdevelop this town, and turn it into Phoenix or Scottsdale. We are a rural community, and we need to stay that way. We need someone who appreciates that and understands really why residents chose to move here in the first place. Thank you.
So that's that closes the public comment portion of this agenda item. So now we'll open it up to discussion on the council. And at this juncture, what the council can do, they can share their opinions and thoughts. They can explain who they will vote for. And then at the conclusion of this segment, we'll call a vote. So having listened to all the 10 candidates, having met with them, at least an hour with each of them, I can tell you, as I mentioned earlier, they are an exceptional group. They bring all kinds of great experience, credentials, things that we need. And we do need things. And our objective as a town council is to select someone who brings value to not only the town council but to the town, and for the town going forward until December 2026. Because that's when Mr. Geiger's term would have expired. So when I look at this exceptional group, one person comes to mind. I'll lead off with my thoughts, and then we can pass it around. But one person comes to mind, that's Mr. Lon Johnson. So he is a strong, successful businessman. We heard that today. And essentially, we're running a business here. We have 3,700 shareholders, but we're running a business. We have to manage revenue, we have to manage expenses, and we have to satisfy our shareholders. And like Tony Geiger, if you look at his resume and you look at his experience, he can ask tough questions, he listens, he digests the answers, he works to find solutions with whoever he's working with, and then he has the ability to execute. His profession is a salesman. Okay, but he's not like a car salesman. He's a technical salesman. Okay, so that means you have to dive in and understand what's going on, the details. So with that mindset, with that thought process, that analytical thought process, that means you can sit down and talk about fire. You can sit down and talk about water. You can sit down and talk about any technical issue that has details to it. And what I find most attractive about Lon Johnson is that he's a fresh face. So he hasn't been at the table. He thinks independently. And he wants to be able to make a contribution. So 6 months ago or so, he took it upon himself. He took the initiative to spend $500 and join the Desert Foothills Leadership Program. So what happens at that program? He gave us a feel for that. But you learn about emergency fire, emergency and medical. You learn about local town government. You learn about water. You learn about energy. And so when you come up here and sit, you come here with a foundation. You'll have a much better foundation than I had when I came onto the town council, and I venture to say any one of us. So I firmly believe that with Lon, our government will run better. He's a good listener. He will come to us with a broad base of knowledge, and it's healthy to have a fresh perspective, and that's what he'll bring to us. So that's my line of thinking. Now I'll open it up to the council for their points of view.
I'll go.
First, I would like to thank everyone that applied to the position. There were 10 applicants, and I interviewed all 10 applicants, and I was impressed with everybody, but we can only choose one. So I would hope that the 9 people who don't make it continue to be involved in the town and bring their skill sets to our town to help us move forward in the future. The person that I'm actually going to vote for is Clint Miller. I think Clint's exceptional experience as an architect, and he's an award-winning architect, would bring a skill set to the town council that's unique in the sense that we have one of the most important projects, I think, to everybody in this town, which is the Village Center redevelopment project. He will be able to bring his knowledge of architecture, design, beauty, landscaping, and make this the most inviting town to the best of his abilities. He has this unique skill set that I know I don't have, and I don't think anyone else on the town council has. We all want to maintain the historic charm and character of Carefree, and I think he is the unique individual qualified to deliver that to us. So I will be voting for Clint. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Well, I should have gone first because I too am supporting Clint. That is, if I can ever remember his name, because as Vince teases me every time I try and remember his first name, I'm sorry, I come up with a different name.
Cliff.
Cliff Clavin.
Yeah, no. And the reason that that I think that he would be a great addition to the council is that he brings a skill that no one else has. And that's the architecture and design. And I think that we can really use that. I like having someone on council who isn't like the rest of us. It's someone who comes with a different perspective and a different skill set. And as Sheila said, with the Village Center redevelopment program getting ready to get underway, he'll be a perfect addition to help us work through that maze. So I support Clint Miller.
Okay, thank you. Next.
My story is, this is my 5th year serving on council. It's my 3rd term, and it's the first couple years it was a little bit of a learning curve, but it's been enlightening. And when Jim Van Allen, the late Jim Van Allen, had passed away, and that opened up a vacancy on the council, I came like you all did tonight, the 10 of you, and spoke in front of the council. And there were, I believe, 4 or 5 of us, and I got 0 votes. 0. But again, the question was posed to me, if you are not selected, are you willing to serve in some capacity? And so followed through on that promise and helped with the various committees and events around town, and then ran and got on the council. And it's been, as I said, very enlightening, and been a part of some major decisions for the betterment of our community. This candidate, to me, in serving this council for 5 years and having seen what I've seen and some of the things that I feel that we need represents many of those qualities. She has rubbed shoulders, rubbed elbows with heads of state. She's served on Fortune 500 boards. She is a published author, wrote 3 books. She's an economist. She knows money. She knows finances. She served she's a career educator, has served as president of a public university and managing people. And you talk about having to be MacGyver and take out duct tape when you're having to face employees, your staff, and make difficult decisions on how to stretch that dollar in budget cuts year in and year out. In Arizona, in and of itself, ranks 48th in education. I've worked in education. I've worked for the courts, and you see those things firsthand, and it's ugly. And the fact that you put yourself out there and you're a target because of that, because of where you sit and what you represent, speaks volumes. Sharon Smith has been to our meetings for the past year, had sat for the first 6 months, sat right there, right where Glenn Miller is sitting, for 6 months, didn't say a word, took out a notepad, just took notes every single meeting. And then the next 6 months, she moved to the other side and took more notes, and had a chance to meet with her when she was a candidate for P&Z, brought out a lot of those notes, and we discussed those things. She's a listener. And that's a key component of being able to sit on this side, is that you have to be able to listen to people and understand. And she's done and seen it all, and continues to put herself out there. So my vote tonight is going to go to Sharon Smith as a result.
Okay, Mr. Hatcher?
This is a tough one, because there are many ways to look at this, to fill this seat. As expressed by Ms. Colleen and Ms. Roth, the relationship with the community and how they feel they can pull it in to address various businesses and try and help the development of our downtown. I certainly can see that being a real asset. Ms. Smith, I've met, had dinner with, and in the past, and I think very highly of her background, and could contribute a great deal to the town as well. The being in business and working with business owners and going through all the things we have in the past with respect to raising funds and making decisions with respect to the fire issue and the water and all that was much more of a financial and business type skill set coming across. So I've been, as you most of you probably don't know, I did not support the property tax, but that wasn't the main issue for me. It was the automatic aid program I didn't support. Someday I suspect we'll have to have a property tax in Carefree 10, 20 years down the road. I don't know. But I'm going to be different here tonight, and I'm going to cast my vote for Ms. Roth to work with our business communities and try and develop our downtown, because that's a real problem. It's going to take many years to develop, and I think she would have the skill set to achieve that. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the last of our, we're still open for additional conversation if you wish.
I would like to say that I did not ask people's status of their vote in the conversation. Just wanted to be in full disclosure.
Just as I said, this is hard because there's different ways to fulfill this seat with different objectives that we have. All of us here on council have different backgrounds, education, skill sets, experiences, etc., that we all can try and contribute. And in speaking with the candidates, everybody wants to contribute and do good things for the town. No doubt there was a dominant theme, and we've heard it all tonight, that we want to keep Carefree carefree. We don't want it to be North Scottsdale. I kid around and that I just love, I want to keep it a little Mayberry, if you will, and that's how I perceive Carefree. So, you know, we've heard comments of big developments and housing and whatever projects, and you know, none of us want that kind of development. Somebody who brought up pickleball. Are you encouraging us to establish a pickleball court?
You may laugh about it, but some of the most prominent towns in America that you
Oh, I get it.
with tennis.
I get it. I'm involved in it already for you. But I just thought it was kind of funny.
It would be a wonderful marker.
Yeah, except for the noise. I get all the noise issue. I don't want to.
In here, there's other classes to have it.
I'm just saying. Anyway, we have a lot of great individuals. This is a town of a lot of wealth, and I'm not referring to money, and talented people that can contribute. So I thank you all for coming and willing to step up and fulfill this seat that we need to take care of our town. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I'd like to add that one of my criteria when I was talking to people and looking to see who I was going to support was looking for someone who wasn't in lockstep with the rest of us. I think that it's important it's important to recognize the fact that there were 80% of the people were against the property tax and the EMS that we were talking about. I just want to take 1 second to say that to everyone, what we did as a council was we made an initiative so that the town would get to vote on it. We did not try to make that decision on our own. And
Yes, you did. You still don't get it. You absolutely did. And that's the problem. You haven't learned a thing.
Okay, please order. I hear you.
That's unbelievable.
Anything else?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Please, please.
Take me on.
I have no interest in taking you
Good.
on. I would just ask that you
Really?
that you respect my point of
I
view like
don't.
I respect yours.
all right.
Please, Mr. Nelson,
Okay, sorry.
any other comments from council?
Well,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to finish by saying that I was looking for someone who isn't in lockstep with the rest of the council, some new blood, and someone who could bring a real value. And again, I just want to mention that I think that's Clint Miller.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so, Town Clerk, please take a, call a vote and see where we stand.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Mayor Crane, how do you vote?
Lon Johnson.
Vice Mayor Croyer, how do you vote?
Clint Miller?
Councilmember Delicio, how do you vote?
Dr. Sharon Smith.
Councilmember Amoroso, how do you vote?
Clint Miller.
And Councilmember Hatcher, how do you vote?
Ms. Roth?
Mayor and council, we have 1 vote for Lon Johnson, 2 for Clint Miller, 1 for Sharon Smith, and 1 for Diane Roth. We'll have a second vote after your conversation.
Okay, so we're going to vote again after some discussion, and only those names who have received a vote are in the running. So I'll open up the discussion for council to any other thoughts that you might have.
I was very careful and thoughtful when I was making this decision. Like I said, I didn't ask people their status of the vote for the property tax. And I was looking for somebody who brought something unique to the table. And I believe that Clint Miller, with his architectural background, will provide great value to something that's important to all of us, which is the revitalization of our town center. We all care deeply about that. We want to to have people coming to town center and spending money. And one of the issues that we hear about is that, you know, complaints about it's tired, or it's a mismatch, or it's a mix and match. And I think that somebody with Clint's background, and I would recommend everyone go and look at his website and look at the beautiful architecture, landscape, and really inviting the desert into the home atmosphere, which is, I think, something why we moved here. And I think he can bring that to life in Carefree.
If I may. I can certainly appreciate that perspective, Sheila. However, I think that skill set can be brought to the town on a committee, if you will. I think we need to have someone who is not only well-versed in the town and its history, but also to be able to integrate well and with existing residents and know them well, and be able to pull our residents here in with more of the topics and decisions that we make. One of the things that we hope to do down the road is have more sessions like this, but more of a town hall platform, so we can go back and forth with various topics that we've talked about. But that's how I see that in terms of the role of those two individuals and the council's position.
My take, again, drawing on the years of experience that I've served on this council, is accounting for every penny, and fiscal conservatism, responsibility, and working within the public body, and those are the factors that ultimately compelled me to support Sharon Smith's candidacy for this position, and I feel that it's the right decision at the right time. In being able to make sure and be fiscally responsible to continue moving forward.
Okay, so Lon Smith, or Lon Johnson. There's a hybrid there.
Whatever your name is.
So one thing to think about is Ms. Roth, she brings real expertise in the retail world. Clint brings real expertise in the architectural world, design guidelines, things related to how the town looks. But there's more to that, to running this town and making it work well. So you need to have somewhat of an understanding of all the different aspects. And that's what Lon is learning on his own, took his own initiative to learn before he had his eyes on any town council seat, before Tony Geiger resigned. He did that on his own, so he could be a better citizen. And the other thing that Lon brings to the party is he turns out to be a member of the 80%. And that he brings a fresh perspective. There's value in that. And when he comes to the table, I'm sure he will bring some new ideas. He will continue learning at this leadership program. He'll learn from us. I've met with him twice. I have over 2 hours invested in him. And he asks great questions. He wants to learn what's going on. He's engaged. So I stick with Lon Johnson.
Sharon's already serving on P&Z, I will add, and she's already put herself out there and is serving the town and has continued. It's not just a vogue thing where we show up 2 months and sit here hoping to get elected, or not put yourself out there. It's something that she has repeatedly done, and she's done it very quietly. Not looking for personal gain or accolades, and just wanting to give back to her community. And she certainly doesn't have to, with her background and her skill set and all that she's done in her role in managing the University of Pittsburgh system as an administrator and managing people with populations far greater than that of our town. She understands finances and she understands people. And that's why she has my support.
just want to say that I don't think that we can make a mistake picking one of these 4 people. They're all well qualified. They're all really good. They all really want to help us. They want to serve us. They want to be an asset to the town. I personally continue to want to support Clint because I like the experience that he brings that none of the rest of us have. But again, I think that whoever we choose when it's all over will be a great addition to the council.
Okay, if there's no other comments, we'll see if anyone changed their minds. So please call a vote.
Thank you, council, mayor and council. Mayor Crane, how do you vote?
Ron Johnson.
Vice Mayor Croyer, how do you vote?
Clint Miller.
Councilmember Delicio, how do you vote?
Sharon Smith.
Councilmember Amoroso, how do you vote? Councilmember Hatcher, how do you vote? Councilmember Hatcher.
Nobody's changed their position at all. Ms. Smith.
I'm sorry?
Ms. Smith.
Sharon Smith is who Mr. Hatcher just endorsed.
Okay, so please tell us the results.
Yes. Mayor and council, we have 1 for Lon Johnson, 2 for Clint Miller, and 2 for Sharon Smith. There'll be a 3rd vote.
Okay, so what that means, per the rules that we laid out initially, the 2 candidates now with 2 votes are the 2 candidates in the running. So that's Ms. Smith and Mr. Miller. So now the council can discuss how they wish to vote. This will be the last vote because there's 5 of us and 2 of them, and someone's going to get 3 votes. So I open it up to the council for discussion.
So I spend a lot of time at the post office talking to citizens. And the reason I'm choosing Clint is because people are very concerned about how our town looks and what the potential is for the Village Center redevelopment project and the potential pitfalls of that. So to me, having somebody that has exceptional skills in architecture, design, art, landscaping is something that fits a need that we have. Everybody talks to me, not everybody, but many people talk to me about keeping Carefree, keeping our character in place, keeping our historic charm in place. And I know that none of us here have the skills that can do that. And I know that Clint Miller has the skills that can do that.
All due respect to Mr. Miller, we just got done this evening, 2 prior meetings, voting on our budget. And the one thing that we all in this room have in common is we live here and it costs money to live here. We need money to run our town, our services, and that money needs to be accounted for. There needs to be fiscal responsibility, continued oversight, and by having an additional person on council with that background, there will be that oversight. And having someone of the experience as an economist of Sharon Smith, with her background, we can appoint committees for agriculture, for architecture, but having an expert like Sharon to help us account for every penny and to work with our town staff, much like we do today, and just having that extra pair of eyes to help us with our spending and what we need and how we need it and how we use it, I feel overrides anything else.
comments?
I think I'm commented out.
Okay, well, I have to change my vote.
Why don't we just?
And it's a difficult decision, but one thing I do know is that we have fielded a lot of comments and criticism regarding some of the things that have been built here in our town. And we need to, and we will, update our design guidelines and figure out ways to make them have a little bit more teeth, whatever the law will allow us to do. And we're in the midst of a general plan. And as some aspects of that general plan go to design and can be sprinkled into that. So I would expect Mr. Miller, when he's appointed, to be part of that process and get us on the right path. So I'll vote for Mr. Miller. So I would call a vote.
Mayor and council, this will be the third vote. Your candidates are Clint Miller and Sharon Smith. Mayor Crane, how do you vote?
Mr. Miller.
Vice Mayor Croyer, how do you vote?
Clint Miller.
Councilmember Delicio, how do you vote?
Sharon Smith.
Councilmember Amoroso, how do you vote?
Clint Miller.
Councilmember Hatcher, how do you vote?
Ms. Smith?
Mayor and council, there are 3 votes for Clint Miller, 2 votes for Sharon Smith. You have your new council member.
Okay, Mr. Miller, congratulations. So before we swear Mr. Miller in, so thank you to all of the candidates, and thank you for basically participating in this process tonight. And I encourage you, I'm repeating what other council members have said, but your inputs and your participation are very welcome, and I hope you continue to do it. So thank you. So Mr. Miller, please come on up and you'll be sworn in. Swear him in down there.
Candace, send him up here. Excuse me, we're still in a meeting. Please.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of Arizona.
of the state of Arizona,
That I will bear
that I will bear
true faith
true faith
and allegiance to the same
and to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
I will faithfully and impartially dispatch my duties
as a council member for the town of Carefree, Arizona,
as a councilman for the town of Carefree, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, well, thank you all, and thank you for sticking around. So now we're going to move item number 10 up because Mr. Don Little is here. We don't want to keep him here all night. So item number 10, review, discussion, and possible action to approve the series number 12 restaurant liquor license for Don Russell Little and Black Mountain Cafe. And who's going to lead this? Ms. Contreras, will you lead this discussion?
Yes, sir. Is Mr.
Yes, he's here.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mayor and Council, as you've noticed, there is another liquor license application. This is for Black Mountain Cafe, as well as Mr. Don Russell Little. The information has been reviewed and approved by the Arizona Liquor Department. It has been posted for the mandatory 20 days. Mr. Little was invited to attend the meeting so that he could go into a little bit more explanation as to why he's went from a coffee shop to ask for a liquor license. And he's here this evening if you'd like to bring him up.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members, and thank you, everybody here. Anyway, Black Mountain Coffee Shop, the actual official name has been Black Mountain Cafe since we bought it 6 years ago. We kept the coffee shop name just because of history, and it's been there since 1978 with that same name. We also kept the logo the same for the longest time. But it is officially, the LLC DBA is Black Mountain Cafe. So in the last 6 years since we've owned it, first of all, thank you to everybody here. I think everybody here has been in my restaurant once or twice or maybe even every day, and I appreciate that. And that's put us in a position where it was time to grow. We've had a lot of people ask us about doing dinner. We've had a lot of people, and then we started doing some Friday night dinners. Then we added music to the Friday night dinners. And we have everyone calling us saying, can we buy liquor? Can we buy wine? Can we get beer? And the answer's been no. Well, it's time to change that. It's time to take it to another level. It's time to give the people what they want. And honestly, we need to take it to another level too. As many of you know, restaurants have become very tough to be profitable. We've been fortunate to have a record year every year since we bought it. Even in 2020 when things were really tough. Thank you for everyone's support here. Everyone here did their best to help us get through that, and I appreciate it. But anyway, it's time to add the liquor. We do have approval to take over the other 2 suites next to our restaurant now, so we will pretty much have that whole side of Spanish Village. And that's about it.
Okay, so we can open it up to questions. So I have please don't leave. I have a couple of questions. One, you're going to expand to those empty spaces next to you. So does that mean you have to come back for an amendment on the liquor license?
We will, yes. We don't have a signed lease yet, so everything that I submitted to the liquor department, I can't send a red flag yet. I mean, once I sign the lease, I will do that.
So you'll be back?
And there's an architect coming, well, as soon as the tenant next door to me moves out, we'll have that done.
And how will you control liquor on the patio? In other words, folks walking out.
Well, we do have gates on the patio. Whether we have them locked or not, I have to figure that out, whether that's going to be required or not. Looking at Pizzicato, looking at Keeler's, I wouldn't think it is, but I'll make sure that, that we do everything by the law.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if signs are required. I don't know if Pizzicato have signs, but.
Yeah, there's a lot of signs that are optional. That I realized that real quick. So I learned a lot taking all those liquor department tests.
Okay. Any other questions from council?
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to know which way you're expanding. Are you coming out towards the street?
All the way to the gelato shop. Where the gelato shop was,
So you're
that'll
gonna
be
take
ours.
over the gelato shop as well?
And the one in between, yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be terrific.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Will your hours be changing as a result of the liquor license?
Yeah, good question. So right now, as you know, we're breakfast, lunch. Friday nights we do dinner. About 8 weeks ago or so, we started jam sessions. We had a couple of professional musicians play. We had somebody want to join them. And when we saw that and we saw the atmosphere of the patio, we're like, okay, we got something here. So we started Friday night jam sessions. So if you haven't been there yet, I know, John, you've been there and a few others have been there. It's pretty epic. It's pretty amazing.
Don, the servers, do they have to be 18 or 21 to serve?
Correct. They have to be 18 to serve. Yeah. And they can't pour. They can only serve it. Yeah. Testing me again, huh?
Well,
No, I'm just kidding.
Just want to be careful of that kind of stuff, that's all.
I'm joking.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Don.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to approve the Series Number 12 restaurant liquor license for Don Russell Little and the Black Mountain Cafe.
Motion to approve Series 012 restaurant liquor license for Don Russell Little and Black Mountain Cafe.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, and good luck, Don.
So free drinks for the council, right?
No,
Item number 7, review, discussion, and possible action to authorize capital funds for the purchase of a Pierce Fire pumper truck. Mr. Neese.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. In approximately 2005, when the town transitioned from individual subscriptions with Rural Metro to a master contract with them, the town purchased land and built a firehouse and began to equip all the furnishings within the firehouse and purchase fire apparatus and associated equipment. Part of that original investment was this fire truck pictured here. That original fire truck was built by American LaFrance approximately 20 years ago, and that company is no longer in business. So finding replacement parts have become difficult. Chief Russell and his engineers have worked with myself to identify the most appropriate apparatus. A truck built by Pierce, a nationally renowned manufacturer of fire apparatus, has been identified. This pumper truck will have foam capabilities, contain a robust enforcer chassis, interior cab, storage for emergency medical equipment, which is a little bit different than what we have today. The emergency medical equipment will be inside with the paramedics rather than outside, so quicker response. So that's an upside to this redesign of this fire truck. And significant exterior storage for all the equipment we currently have on the truck. The truck is being purchased through Sourcewell Cooperative, of which the town is a member of. We've been a member of this cooperative for several decades. The purchase cooperative, like Sourcewell, provide purchase procurement services which are conducted on behalf of public entities, so they specialize in municipalities such as us. The specific apparatus under this cooperative pricing will be approximately $863,000. You include the applicable sales tax, that will be $935,000 and change. The anticipated delivery date would be October 2023, so this coming fall. From a comparative perspective, if we did our own independent procurement, it would be about 15 to 20% more, and the total process could take 2 to 3 years to receive that vehicle under today's circumstances. In essence, using a purchase cooperative saves time and money, which is why most of the fire departments today throughout the nation are using these purchase cooperatives to purchase their vehicles. The council authorization, Mayor, members of the council, in front of you is authorization of approximately $935,000 of our capital funds to purchase a new Pierce manufactured pumper truck for the fire department. With us tonight is Tracy Richards. She is the local rep. She actually lives in Carefree, so obviously she wants the best fire truck for the town residents. Also, Chief Russell is present too, so if you have any additional questions about the specifications and the performance of this truck, certainly they can entertain those questions for you.
I actually have a question, if I may. First of all, $935,000 is a lot of money, but secondly, our current truck, why the need to upgrade it, or if that's the case, we can't get any more miles out of it, and secondly, if we do approve this, what can we get for our truck? Has that been estimated, what we can recoup?
So why upgrade? Obviously, we cannot get replacement parts that are manufacturally approved for that American LaFrance. So there are issues with some of the retrofits that we have made to that truck. It's about 20 years old. Life cycle is approximately 20 years for a fire truck, so now's the time to do it. As far as the existing fire truck and how much we could get for it, we are required under state statute to go to public auction to sell these public resources. So there is a website that we can go to and auction off this equipment, and that's what most likely we would do to try and yield the highest value for that.
Is there an
fire
estimate
truck.
as to what you think we can get for it?
At this point in time, I don't have an estimate yet.
Any other questions?
Yes,
Vice Mayor.
ladies first.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say, I think that once again, you've done your due diligence and you found the best option for us, and so I want to thank you for that. Buying it as part of the cooperative with other towns makes all the sense in the world to me, so, thank you.
Saves a lot of money too. The new truck, the thing that I noticed here was, it has the ability to use spray foam.
Yes.
For like electric car fires, which burn, you know, for a few days. I assume the old truck, 20 years old, didn't have that or didn't have
We
that.
actually had foam capability on
We
that
did?
truck. Yes, we've had a number of problems with that in recent years, just trying to get replacement parts for that
Yeah.
to ensure it operates. Once again, fire trucks, they get beat up, obviously, and so you want to make sure that everything works on this truck, and it's critical to have this resource so that our firefighters can have the best equipment available.
So all I recommend is we have a little, take that blue can, put it up by the door, everybody kick it a few blocks as they walk out.
And Mayor, you might recall when we approved the budget tonight and we went over the capital expenditures, we budgeted $950,000, so this is below that $950,000 that we budgeted through the capital funds.
So I have a question. I'd just like to understand better the difference between the truck which we're retiring or will retire and the new one. So Ms. Delta, in about 18 to 20 years, you mentioned something about medical things. Maybe you could just tell me about that again, and then I can get a high-level understanding of what the differences will be.
So
go ahead.
I'll let the chief talk about the specific medical equipment they keep on the truck, but obviously there's compartments that they place it in. Typically, it's outside the cab itself on our existing truck. The new trucks have it, the storage inside the cab, so when they're leaving the cab, they just grab that medical equipment and leave rather than walk around the truck and get it. So it saves some time in that response. So, Chief, if you want to...
Chief, what other differences are at a high level? I don't want to get too far into weeds here, but
Chief, if you could come up.
it's got a backup camera. Come on.
0 to 60 in,
There you go. Basically, the difference is the compartments are on the exterior, and it's the metal, and it gets hot, and we carry the medications and the drugs. Now they'll be kept inside, where it's air conditioned or in the shade. So as far as that Mr. Neese was pointing out is our main issue, but again, it's inside with the guys. When the firefighters park now, they have to get out, chalk the engine, go to the compartments, and go around to a driveway or a front door. Now it's right with them, they get out, it's in their hands, and it's seconds that count.
Seconds count,
So,
exactly right. Okay, good.
That
good.
and the heat, sounds like it has an impact to the medications, whatever inside.
Yeah, we have to be
there.
real careful with the IV fluids, the cardiac medications, the trauma medications.
Right, yeah, of
Very
course.
important. And sometimes we even have them inside, like right now, they're still in the cab, but they're in little bags, you know, they're scattered. So now we'll have them all together like they're supposed to be, just it's a heat issue right now.
And this vehicle will be able to get up the driveways that we've approved and
Yeah, it'll
steep
make it up
hills,
top
all
of the
that
hill.
stuff, that'll
Yeah,
still-
it's a tough drive for any vehicle, it's tough driving my vehicle, as you know, but, this is a very powerful engine. I think Tracy could talk the specs on it better, but it's a bigger engine, I think 550 horsepower. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's top of the line.
Chief Russell, you're obviously an expert in this area, and Gary had priced these out and said this is about a 15 to 20% discount over what we find in the retail market. Would you agree that we're talking about a $1.2 million investment for this type of truck?
At least, if you can get it. Like Gary had mentioned, we've talked about it for a while now, you can't even, it's a 2 to 3 year wait. And I also deal, I may be able to help you guys with the older engine. With my foundation and for Mexico, I deal with a lot of engines and getting them down there and get them donated. My point is they're not available. All the folks, especially in Southern California, are buying them to the big houses, and they have their own engines parked. So the price of engines the last 3 years are through the roof.
What do you think we can get for ours?
Tough call. Depends the time of year we sell
Ballpark.
it and who's it. Ballpark. I'd say, I don't wanna go too high and have you mad at me, probably 8 to 10,
1,000?
yeah.
That's it?
The $10,000?
Because of parts. Maybe 20 if it's, could go back east. There's a, the
We should
company's
just sell
out of
take it
business.
apart and sell the parts.
Good point.
Probably make a lot more.
And that's, those companies are doing that. They
Yeah.
scrap it and just one
Yeah.
part that is worth 10 grand, but.
Would it be
Maybe.
worth keeping a second truck?
We had talked about that, Gary and I talked about that, and wouldn't be a bad idea, but again, it's just gonna progressively get older and parts are gonna get harder. And Rural Metro will always back it up with an engine. If something does happen to it, whether it's warranty work or not, we'll always have an engine. So we talked about, probably wouldn't be a good idea, just because it's getting older, parts will even get harder, and, we'll always have a backup engine for you, from our fleet.
So you're, in your opinion, you feel we need to replace it now?
Yes. Oh, it definitely replace it now. Keeping it, that's another conversation, but definitely.
Yeah, I'm just guessing, but my guess is that it's been out of the firehouse probably since the beginning of the year, 20% of the time for repairs.
Yes, I was gonna mention that too. It's been down, many different issues, and some we couldn't get the parts. So, and
That's pretty serious.
yeah, so we always had an engine here, but it's been a backup engine. So our engine's been down, like you said, Mr. Mayor, probably, that's a good estimate, 20%. I think a whole month, a couple
It was
months ago.
a whole month there,
Yeah.
March or something.
Yes,
April.
exactly. So it's a great idea to get it. This one's coming right off the line. We'll have it by October. I highly recommend it.
Okay, good. And thanks for working with us and with the representative to spec it out.
Yeah, thank God she lives here, 'cause it's been easy.
Yeah, good.
I have one more thing I'd like to say. I had a incident this morning. My day starts at about 5 a.m., but I was driving to work, and there was a gentleman, older gentleman, that was stumbling on the road there, and it looked like he had stepped on a rock or something, but he's losing his balance, and then all of a sudden he just goes down hard. And then I stopped the car, get him. His whole face is just covered in blood. He's disoriented, and I told him, turn over, sit down, try and get your breath, and he was adamant about standing up. I finally get him in my car. I was going to take him to the fire station, of course, and he fought me on it. So I took him home and got him to his house and made sure he was, okay in the house and so forth. But the reason I bring this story up was that obviously he didn't have his phone with him. He was dehydrated, and he was out, by himself on there, and it was pretty bad. So I just caution everybody, if you're out there running early in the morning, well, it was, 88, 90 degrees, at 5:30. So just be careful when you're doing that kind of stuff. I don't know how the gentleman's condition is at the moment. I was wondering if you had a call from his wife this morning at all.
I haven't heard anything about it, so no.
But he was pretty, I should have not listened to him and taken him right to you.
Yeah, it couldn't have hurt.
I know, but he was adamant about it. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that to everybody. Be careful.
Oh, yeah, we're getting a lot of those this time of year.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the council? Okay, well, thank you, Chief.
Great.
Thank you, Chief.
And thank you for helping us out. Okay, so, Mr. Neese, so we need a motion to approve $935,143.66.
Yes, of capital funds, yes.
For the purchase of the Pierce Fire pumper truck.
That is correct.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, what he said.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes unanimously.
Clint just made his first vote.
Okay,
Well done.
good job.
Just spent $1 million, Clint. What the hell? You only been here for 10 minutes.
Agenda item number 8. Review, discussion, and possible action to authorize capital funds for the stucco repair, resurface, rhino shield, and ceramic paint to garden walls located between the amphitheater and the bridge into and from the post office building. So what this means is, where where the Veterans Memorial is, the slide, kid slide, Little Free Library, all that territory, all that part of the garden. All right, Mr. Neese.
Thank you, Mayor, and members of the council. As you know, the gardens were developed back in 1999, 2000, or thereabout. And over time, we've received a lot of bubbling and flaking of the stucco and paint. The graphics here, the pictures here at the top, represent what was occurring to the green room, which is located on the bottom there. That is the recent repair of the green room. 2 summers ago, we began a phased approach to address this reoccurring issue of the peeling and bubbling of the stucco throughout the gardens. These repairs included waterproofing and restuccoing of exterior walls and application of ceramic paint called Rhino Shield, which contains a 25-year warranty. This incremental approach permitted the town to evaluate the performance of the repairs before making larger investments. The first phase, as I indicated, involved the restroom building and the visitor center, and the second phase included all the walls between the amphitheater to the sundial. Phase 3 will be the largest phase to date. This will involve addressing all the walls between the amphitheater and the bridge connecting into and from the post office building just outside of 100 Easy Street. This phase approach will include 2 pedestrian bridges, 3 ramadas, equipment enclosures, as well as all the low seat walls. The final phase of the project will tackle the walls, including the post office bridge to the traffic circle south of 100 Easy Street. Once again, this will be Rhino Shield. It has a 25-year warranty against cracking, bubbling, and peeling. And during each of the phases, the vendor has gone out with their commercial crews and inspected the performance of the various phases that we conducted previously and made any necessary repairs. So they stand by their work and they have made repairs. So I'm quite pleased with the contractor and the repairs that they've made. The action before the council tonight is authorization of approximately $75,000 plus applicable sales tax of capital funds to repair the stucco and apply the ceramic paint to the walls located in between the amphitheater and the bridge into and from the post office on the south side of 100 Easy Street. Be glad to address any questions that the council might have.
Yeah, so I have, well, first comment is 25-year warranty, that's great, and we know they've come back and honored it to date in the first 2 phases, so excellent. So I have a question about the post office bridge. So sometimes drivers cut that a little short and they hit the bridge. So when that happens, going forward, after we Rhino Shield this thing, the bridge, we'll have to call them back every time to fix it? I mean, in the past, I suspect Public Works fixed it.
Yes.
So how are we gonna handle that?
We will ask them for some extra paint to touch it up. We will make the stucco repairs like we've always done and repaint the walls, so we would be responsible for that. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions from council?
Gary, how long has this firm been around? Has it been a while? Or do you know off the top of your head?
At least 15 years that I know of. So, and they have 2 sectors, a residential sector and a commercial sector. Everybody I know that has used it loves the product. So it's doing really well.
And the first time we used them was 2 years ago, or?
Yes, 2 summers ago.
Are we retreating same spots that come back? The pictures look like it's moisture from within that's causing the bubbling on the paint.
Yes.
So the paint is of a synthetic nature that's not allowing moisture to escape. So we probably need to check with them and find out if they're gonna warranty their product against moisture from within rather than rain.
They do, and they stand by it, and there was additional moisture damage. They came back and repaired it. But where the moisture was damaged, there wasn't waterproofing that was provided originally, and so they come back and they do the waterproofing and then reapply the stucco and then the ceramic coating. So.
The ceramic coating, that's just they sprayed on?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yes, this is an important step to kind of making the gardens look good. I mean, it's one step of several, but it's a
Well,
big
yeah,
step.
yeah, we can't have it look beat up.
Exactly right, exactly. Any other comments? So I would entertain a motion to approve or authorize $75,000 for a stucco and Rhino Shield application to the gardens located between the amphitheater and the bridge into and from the post office building.
I motion to approve 75,000 plus applicable taxes and capital funds, 37,500 stucco repairs, 37,500 Rhino Shield to repair and apply ceramic paint to walls located between the amphitheater and the bridge into from the post office.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. This is a good step in the right direction, and so is our next agenda item. That would be item number
11?
Number 9. Review, discussion, and possible action to authorize capital funds to refresh decomposed granite in the town center desert garden and replanting amphitheater planter located at the northwest corner of the amphitheater. Mr. Neese.
Thank you, Mayor. During the summer of 2021, we did a top coating or a refresh of all the decomposed granite within the gardens. Due to the combination of foot traffic and heavy raking by the maintenance and heavy use of pets, bare spots naturally reoccur. Desert Foothills Landscape, who maintains the gardens, has inventoried all these areas, and they estimate that we need approximately 20 tons of decomposed granite to refresh these areas. Furthermore, the planter located on the northwest corner of the amphitheater will undergo a refresh as well too. There's many plants that previously were in there that got frost damage and then were removed. They will replace those plants with similar plants found in nearby planters. The action before council tonight, once again, is authorization of capital funds. In this case, approximately $7,300 for these respective improvements.
All right, well, thank you. Any other comments, questions from council? So, Marilyn, the replanting near the pavilion is really important because we get a lot of events in the pavilion. We're going to get more events in the pavilion. And so for that space to look good, especially when it kind of frames the pavilion, right? Planter on the north, on one side, planter on the other side, which we'll take care of soon. It's not on tonight's agenda. But it really sets the stage for good things, that the appearance of what's going on there. So I'm glad we're doing this. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve this approximately, can we say that, approximately $7,300?
Yes.
For decomposed granite and some revegetation work.
Motion to approve purchase of decomposed granite and vegetation for the gardens
In the amount of $7,300.
in the amount of $7,300. Sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 11, review, discussion, and possible action to approve the agent owner amendment to the series number 12 restaurant license for Andrea Dahlman, Lukowitz, and Keeler's Neighborhood Steakhouse.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a housekeeping matter. There really is no change to Keeler's license per se. Due to the very unfortunate loss of Paul Keeler, there's been a change in the agent and the ownership paperwork only of Keeler's. I don't believe Andrea is here. I told her it wasn't really necessary. She is the attorney that handles liquor licenses, so they're just making her the agent for that liquor license, and nothing else changes with the Keeler's restaurant.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? So I will entertain a motion to approve the agent owner amendment to the Series 12 liquor license for the Keeler's Neighborhood Steakhouse.
I move that we approve the agent owner amendment to the series number 012 restaurant liquor license for Andrea Dahlman Lefkowitz and Keeler's Neighborhood Steakhouse.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 12, adjournment.
I'd like to move that we adjourn. Post
Second.
haste.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for sticking around.